Hello, friend. This is Ryan Hicks of TalkToProfit.com. And today I want to talk to you about starting a business. Very often I get people that tell me ideas they have for starting a business, but the most common reason they give for not doing it, and you can guess this, is a lack of capital, a lack of funds. And while that can be valid, I'll investigate these people a little bit and ask them, well, what have you been doing? Well, nothing. I don't have the money to get started. So the problem many people have, the reason they don't get the money, the reason why that doesn't come through in their lives, they don't manifest that, they don't attract that money, is because they're not doing anything. Unless you count just talking about someday you're going to do it. But even if you have no money, now oftentimes you'll find in businesses that you really don't need as much money as you think. I've known people talking about they're going to start a new bakery business, and they're talking about leasing office space, and I got to do this. And it's like, wait, why don't you just sell in your neighborhood? Or when you go to work, bring some food in and sell to your coworkers. Determine whether or not people like what you're cooking, they like the way it is, they can give you some ideas before you go all the way out and actually open a restaurant. Now, it's good to think big, so think about that big goal of having a chain of restaurants. That's great. But if you have no money right now and you feel like you can't get started, it's just not true. You can research, you can spend time each day researching the things you're going to need for the business. You can do some practical things for the business on a very, very small scale. And it depends on what it is. But for the vast majority of businesses, you can start extremely small. Yes, there may be no profit in it when you're starting that small, but you can learn and you can grow, and you can then get into the position of being able to fund the business fully. And you can also learn if this business is a dud of an idea, because some businesses are. Or you can learn that your original idea was not good, but you can pivot into something that is good from that initial idea. And the beauty of that is you want to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars to do it, to learn from that mistake and to go into a different area. So don't tell yourself and get down on yourself because you don't have enough money that you can't start your business. I know for a fact that for the most people, most businesses, if you'll just sit and think for a little bit, there are things you can do right now towards starting that business. You might even be able to start it completely right now on a very, very, very small scale, but at least start something going toward that big goal you have. And every day do something for it. Even if it's reading a book about that industry, do that. If it's calling suppliers, finding out what prices are going to be for the equipment you might need, so you know exactly what you need. Because one of the biggest issues people have is they think they need hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they may only need a few $100s or a few $1,000s. I knew somebody wanted to go into a restaurant business. They had no money, and all the equipment they were going to have to lease and how expensive it was going to be, and they were looking at $50,000 just to even open the door, and that doesn't guarantee anything. And I told them about a business right next to a warehouse I had at the time. The restaurant had went out of business, and they had bought all this used equipment, so they weren't leasing it, put it into the business, put it into the restaurant, refitted areas and stuff, and made it all work for a perfect little restaurant. And you could use all that equipment and just pay them the rent for the building. So you had a ready-to-go restaurant. The only thing they would have to do is just change the decor to match the theme of their restaurant, buy the food, obviously, and they're ready to go. And in most businesses, if you will look around, there are opportunities for you to get going and get started and take action very inexpensively, maybe even at no cost at all. And in some cases, people like such as that one business, the landlord liked the idea and they were willing to fund the initial startup capital for the business. Things will work out in your favor if you will take action. If you sit around talking about someday, it'll always be someday. But if you'll put forth your faith and believe, have confidence, have your faith fully in God, and know that He will give you favor, but not just you because you're sitting around and and God's raining down favor on you because you're going to take action. God was so gracious to give us seeds to sow, but He doesn't force your hand. You have to go sow the seeds. So you have to take action. You want that crop, you want that harvest, you have to plant the seeds. You have to water the plants. There are activities you have to do to get the blessing of God, but it's freely available to you. It's freely offered. Anyone can take of it liberally. God gives it to you freely, liberally. He'll give you wisdom. He'll show you the things you need to do. He'll show you ways to do it less expensively if that's an issue. And He'll show you how to make it a success. But you'll never get to that point if you're just talking about someday you're going to do this, someday you're going to do that, and not doing anything day in and day out toward that someday. I've written a number of books, dozens of books, about a dozen of them right now are in print, and I get people regularly asking me about being an author and what they should do, and they want to write a book, and they've been wanting to write books for 20 years, and they just haven't had time to do it. And I tell them, and this applies to all business getting started, I tell them, just write a page a day. Well, but my book will never get done. If you wrote one page every day for 365 days in a year, then you'd have a 365-page book, and actually probably you'd be done before the year's up, because most books aren't going to be that long. Do something. Take a little tiny bit of action each day towards your end goal, and you'll get there. But if you just keep talking about it and talking about it and talking about it and put it off to someday and never take any action towards it, it'll never get done. Many great businesses have died before they even got started because somebody didn't do anything toward actually getting them going. And money could be a legitimate excuse that you don't have enough capital, but you could do something. And if you're going to write a book, you could write a page. Listen, if you can't write a page, write a half a page. It doesn't even matter the exact amount. Do something each day. Because what you'll find if you do that little tiny bit, such as writing a page a day, you might actually write 5 or 10 pages. You might only write 1. But it will get you closer to being done with that product, or starting that business, or writing the book, or whatever it may be. So there may be valid reasons why you can't start it the way you want to start it, but there might also be valid reasons to why you can get going, maybe at a smaller scale, and you can go toward the big, massive business that you want to have. Don't despise the day of small beginnings. Don't give up because you can't have the big penthouse suite and your business operating in 50 countries when you won't even take the action of spending 5 minutes a day working toward getting the business going. Too many people give up before they've even started. They don't have that big, huge, massive business right before them, so they give up. And I'm telling you, have faith in God, be patient, and take action every day. You will see results. It may be small in the beginning, and that's all right. The farmer doesn't go out and curse the ground when he only sees a little tiny plant starting to spring up. He's patient, he tends to the crops, and with time and patience and diligence on his part, he sees a harvest. And you, my friend, can do the same thing. It might be small, it might be a little tiny sprout right now, but be patient and diligent in your efforts, each and every day taking action, some action, any action towards that business going and getting started and producing profit, and then you will find great success. My friend, I pray this is a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.